Hello, my favorite fae-friendly fiend-fighting fellows. I'm Scott Moore, and I'm here to talk about Goodman Games' soon-to-be-released conversion of the classic adventure module, The Caverns of Thracia. I had the pleasure and privilege of working on the conversion, the update to 5e version of D&D, which will be released as Original Adventures Reincarnated number 9, while Bob Brinkman worked on the conversion to the Dungeon Crawl Classics rule set. The Caverns of Thracia was first released for the original Dungeons & Dragons rules way back in 1979. It was written by prolific game designer Janelle Jaquays and published by Judges Guild. The adventure begins in the ruins of an abandoned and overgrown city deep within the jungle, but then expands to include 4 underground levels, plus 1 sublevel. Now, I'm a big fan of campaign-style adventures over one-shots. I love modules where characters can gain multiple levels over several months of play, possibly even leaving and returning to the site multiple times over a period of days, weeks, or even months of in-game time. And that's exactly what the Caverns of Thracia provides. In addition to all the combat and exploration opportunities provided by the underground dungeon levels, another cool element in the adventure, in my opinion, was all the factions. Janelle created a whole melting pot of various humans and monster races living in disharmony, with some allied and some opposed to each other. Native humans, evil cultists, various humanoid monsters, and even fey creatures all vie for dominance within the ancient city's ruins and the caverns below. As each tries to carve out its own domain within the Caverns of Thracia, it provides those players who enjoy in-game social interaction with the opportunity to develop some potential "the enemy of my enemy is my friend" situations. As part of the conversion process, the 5e version of the Caverns of Thracia contains 35 new NPCs and monsters, nearly a dozen new spells, and over a dozen new magic items. While working on the conversions, Chris Doyle from the Goodman Games development team asked Bob and I to keep track of all the interesting little plot hooks and adventure seeds we come across. Janelle sprinkled a bunch of interesting little tidbits throughout the original Caverns of Thracia that were ripe for further development. Those would give us our starting points for developing additional content for expanding the world of Thracia. Within the caverns themselves, there were a few things on our list that we definitely wanted to address. In the original module, the description for room 102 on level 4 was the mysterious missing chamber. If you look at the maps for level 4, you'll see there is no area 102. Instead, Janelle left it out and just made a humorous reference to her oversight in the room's description. If you look at the original map again for level 4, however, between rooms 101 and 103, there is an incredibly large unused space that we figured would be great to fit in the missing room. Rather than just a single room, however, we decided to fit in an entire complex. Throughout the underground caverns in the original adventure, there were several sections of related rooms that Janelle referred to as complexes, and then labeled individual rooms within the complex as 53A, 53B, etc. So we decided to make the missing room 102 a similar complex. Level 2 contains an underground river, which also connects to part of level 4, and we surmised could also connect to the above-ground swamp that's adjacent to the city. So we decided to expand the river and add a water sublevel as well. Other small things, such as the gnome outcast living in the caverns, the origin of the ornate marble used in the construction of the temples, the 2 different individuals, both named Grassus, living in the caverns, and even a potential tie-in to another Janelle classic adventure, Dark Tower, shameless plug, among others, were all expanded on as well. In addition, the original Caverns of Thracia city map only showed the western edge of the city, so we decided to fill out the ruins and detail the entire above-ground city as well. On the first page of the original Caverns of Thracia, under the Notes for the Judge, Janelle's first note reads, "This adventure is not specifically located on the Judges Guild world. It can be, but it is not." Well, thank you very much, Janelle, for that writing prompt. In addition to detailing out the rest of the city's above-ground ruins, I took the opportunity to detail the entire island that the ruins exist on, incorporating all 4 of the potential suggestions Janelle originally provided for the location of the ruins. Bob expanded the environment even further by detailing the entire archipelago that the island of Thracia rests within. Although the original Caverns of Thracia contained enough material to sustain a campaign for months or years, the new updated Caverns of Thracia provides GMs with even more to work with. A separate adventure exploring the region immediately around the ruins, which can serve as a prequel to the Caverns of Thracia, will also be available from Goodman Games in the near future. One of the new supplements is a separate standalone adventure for 5e I wrote entitled The Sacrificial Pyre of Thracia. Intended for 4 to 6 characters of first level, the Sacrificial Pyre of Thracia can serve as a standalone adventure, a prequel to the Caverns of Thracia, or as a way to bring in a second batch of characters if you've already started playing Caverns of Thracia and the players have found the need for additional PCs. The adventure begins with the PCs lost somewhere in the jungles on the island of Thracia, searching for the remains of the fabled lost city. During their travels, they come upon a local settlement besieged by the cult of the Dark One, who occasionally raid local communities to kidnap potential sacrifices to their evil deity. If the characters agree to rescue the kidnapped citizens, the town elder promises to provide them with directions to the ruins of the fabled lost city. The adventure provides additional detail on the region surrounding the lost city of Thracia and gives the characters a chance to explore it. The party will travel through jungle, desert, and mountains to find the cult of the Dark One's stronghold, and eventually face off against the cult's elders in the lava tubes under a dormant, or mostly dormant, volcano. The Sacrificial Pyres of Thracia includes 2 new monsters for 5e, as well as rules for using Thracian dogfolk as player characters. As in the original Caverns of Thracia, there is a potential setup for an other planar adventure if the GM and the characters wish to explore that option. And there's also multiple factions at play, which means that may provide the opportunity for the characters to gather some unusual allies in their offensive against the cult of the Dark One. So that will bring us to the end of my video series on Goodman Games' upcoming conversion of the Caverns of Thracia, and a look at some of the supporting material we've created to expand the original adventure. I encourage you to check it out, and I hope you enjoy what we've done to hopefully enhance Janelle Jaquet's classic adventure.